Animals with incredible camouflage. You won't be able to see these animals with amazing camo skills.
Giant leaf-tailed gecko. You might have seen a giant leaf-tailed gecko and not even know that you spotted it. It disappears into its background with perfect adaptations that give it the camouflage it needs to survive. The environment in question are areas where trees are prevalent, so they aim to camouflage against dry leaves or tree bark. Their coloring is on point to blend into their surroundings. The color spectrum of grays and green, including tans and browns, in mottled patterns, help them easily disguise against the foliage. Even their eyes are a mottled color. Next, their body shape lends to their illusion, with triangular-shaped heads and a fringed flap on their lower jaw that extends to their whole body. This frill flattens against any surface and obscures their outline against the background. This flattened surface also reflects and refracts light, which disguises them further, making it nearly impossible to make out a lizard-shaped body. Then, their ultimate red herring to really throw you off their trail is their tail. Their tail looks like a flat leaf stuck on a tree. It can be pressed completely flat when the lizard is in stealth mode, and voila! What lizard, you'll be asking?
I hope that you're enjoying the list so far. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.
Great horned owl.
You might spot this elusive bird silhouette on an electricity pole, but if it's sitting in a tree, there is no chance you'll spot one.
They are short and stout-set owls with two prominent ears, which are actually just feathered tufts, giving them an even squarer look. But their hidden talent is certainly their coloring. Mottled gray-brown feathers make them near invisible amongst tree branches. The color ranges from sooty to pale depending on their regional surroundings, which help them remain protected from predators on the prowl. Thorny devil. This wily creature only grows up to 8 inches long, but for a small species, it has an incredibly long lifespan of 6 to 20 years. Their number one defense is their rough, bristly scales that are specialized to be a painful snack to anyone who tries to take a bite. But these same spikes also serve as a really great camouflage in the arid scrubland and desert of the interior of Australia. They blend in well with the local landscape and flora. They are pale yellow and red in warm weather, but change color to darker shades in cold weather or when stressed. They are olive brown in the cooler morning temperatures, but in the full sun of midday turn to pale tan. The Australian waterfall frog. Also known as the torrent tree frog, this amphibian spends his days down under, hidden in, well, you guessed it, rocky streams and along waterfalls. The reason for this specific attachment to waterfalls is that the walls of granite rock native to the area become mottled with algae. This combination of patterns and colors makes the waterfall frog all but disappear into its surroundings. The waterfall frog is 2 inches in length. It can be found in tropical North Queensland, especially in the Mount Carbine uplands from altitudes of 180 to 3,000 meters. Population numbers have been on the decline in the higher altitudes. The lower areas are still stable.
Despite its amazing dorsal disappearing patterns, its belly is bright green, pink, and orange in color. The frog's internal organs are visible through this translucent belly skin.
Stick insect. The stick insect is a master of disguise on another level. They don't only look the part, they also act it. They bear a striking resemblance to twigs, and some even show markings that have an uncanny resemblance to lichen growing on a branch. This addition gives them the ultimate authentic disguise, but the real clincher is the movement that really helps them blend into their tree homes. Stick insects rock back and forth as they move that perfectly imitates twigs swaying in the wind. Should a stick insect have a limb grabbed by a bird or other predator, it just abandons the limb and moves to safety. The stick insect possesses a special muscle adaptation that breaks the limb off at a weak joint. No problem though, the stick insect can regenerate the missing limb when it molts its skin as it grows. Adults who have passed the molting stage can force themselves to molt in order to regrow a leg. When it comes to their eggs, they also manage a great disguise to survive. Instead of laying their eggs in clusters under a leaf or on a branch, the mama stick insect scatters her eggs on the forest floor. There is no order or care, but there is method in the madness. Turns out the random scattering works well. The eggs look like seeds, and this keeps them safe from egg-eating predators on the hunt for a snack. And even if one or two are eaten, the method of spreading them increases their chances that some will hatch successfully. Hippocampus vargabant. In the 1960s, while studying sea fans, biologist George Vargabant came upon an even greater discovery, a minuscule seahorse, completely camouflaged in its coral surroundings. Only 1 centimeter long, it took another 40 years until it was spotted again. You might think the Hippocampus vargabant has great camo skills to keep it safe, but there's a lot more spunk to this little seahorse than you think. Its camouflage is actually used for hunting purposes. Their favorite prey, copepods, a tiny crustacean, are incredibly fast. Catching them is a real skill as they propel themselves at 500 body lengths per second. A cheetah, the fastest land animal, only reaches speeds of 30 body lengths per second. The greatest camo skills of the hippocampus allow it to creep within a millimeter of the copepod before snapping it up. Bufftip moth. You might know the bufftip moth more as a caterpillar than as a highly disguised moth. The large, hairy, and yellow worm conglomerate in numbers and can strip a whole branch of leaves in a single sitting, but it's all part of the cycle of life. Come the following May to July, their winged form is hiding in plain sight on the bark of silvery gray branches. They frequent hedgerows and woodland edges in parks and gardens and are one of the most spotted moths, although when blended into the correct background, they almost disappear. Their name comes from the buff patch on their wingtips and head. Their silvery gray bodies are what hides them, with a square-cut shape that makes them look like a node on a branch. It's easy to see why you've never spotted one for yourself. Wraparound spider.
This family of 17 spider species has a unique ability to wrap itself around a branch to almost become one with the branch.
Some of these tricky tree huggers can also flatten themselves so completely they become part of a tree's bark profile and can hardly be detected. The spider's body is shaped like an inverted disc. This is made up of smaller discs with slits in them. Depending on their environment, their coloring adaptations vary from shiny young bark to knobbly and gnarled old wood. They are small spiders, and when night comes, they come out of hiding and are incredibly adept at building webs spanning from tree to tree to catch a meal. The platefish. Peacock flounder, flowery flounder, man ray, flatfish, tropical flounder, or platefish. It doesn't matter what you call them, there's a slim chance you'll ever come across it easily enough to greet it by name. This flat fish buries itself in a thin layer of sand and blends right into the sandy bottoms of coastal reefs. Its eyes bulge above the sand, surveying left to right for prey or predator. Their eyes can rotate 180 degrees. They remain hidden by day, but at night head for open waters to hunt for a meal of fish or crabs. They are a part of the flatfish family, the same as soles. All are born as larvae with an eye on each side of its head, but as it ages, one eye migrates over to the other side so that it can lie flush with the floor and have two eyes facing up like a periscope. Its coloring is dull, sandy tones adapted to the local coloring with an occasional light blue spot pattern. They reach lengths of 42 centimeters. Barren caterpillar. If you saw a barren caterpillar uncamouflaged, you might think it looks like a green worm with some pine needle protrusions. But if you saw it camouflaged, who am I kidding? You won't ever see it camouflaged. Let's just say its camo game is so on point it's a miracle anyone discovered it in the first place.
It was found after a long and exhaustive search, I might add, on mango tree leaves, most commonly in Singapore, and it's thought of as a pest in some areas.
It is found in Southeast Asia and India and evolved their shape to avoid predators. If they survive wormhood, they can evolve to the next level and become a butterfly and reproduce for another generation. Once metamorphosed, its butterfly version is not very well camouflaged. Males are brown and females a paler green shade. They have a notably awkward flying style, keeping to low heights. It maintains a specific territory during its entire butterfly life.
Have you ever been lucky enough to spot any of these well-camouflaged animals? Did we leave one off our list? Let me know in the comments below.
1. Granular glass frogs. Meet the miniatures with skin as clear as glass. Not only do they hide deep in the forests of Central America and almost impossible to navigate the wilderness, but they blend in with their habitat with ease. They are so tiny, generally 20 to 30 millimeters, and have a translucent belly that's so thin you can sometimes see their minute organs pulsating beneath it. Their size, partnered with their camouflage colors, makes them very difficult to spot, whether you're a hungry bird or a researcher trying to navigate the tricky streams they live along. They show up on the shores of streams to reproduce during the rainy season in Central America. Here, you might meet a mating menagerie of granular glass frogs, sporting light green backs with small spots ranging from yellow, white, black, and blue. However, they might be so well disguised that you won't even know that they're there.